Love and guidance to everyone. Mm. Well, I was just thinking like I could help anybody and I don't want to just keep sitting on this. Even though I've said it 1,000 times and it made me feel like no one's listening, but I know the right people will hear the message. And lips a little crusty. Hold on. I've been going through not having my children since 2000. Really, we got broke up in 2017. It was actually May 1st. Yeah. May 1st in 2017 or May 2nd. That's like when I went missing off of social media a lot, because I used to do hair and I do my children hair. You know, keep their hair up every 3 weeks and stuff like that. So my awakening and the reason why I went to the mental institution is because I noticed that my daughter's Heimlich was missing. And at the time they were 3 and 5. And for those who don't know what a Heimlich is how you know a girl has lost her virginity, because when it's the popping of the cherry, basically. So 2017, I noticed something had came over me, like over my spirit, like a strong feeling like my daughters had been molested. And when I checked them, their Heimlich was missing. So I'm going to try to make this story as short as possible. I really don't even like talking about it, but the more that I express it to myself and the more I write and the more I speak, the more I feel inclined to tell parents that might not know that you could have family members, close friends, close to you, who are molesting your children and it never hits you until it hits you. So once I seen that their Heimlich was missing, I basically was on the phone with my mother, and in a sense, I I I can only remember so much during that time, but I just remember us being on the phone and I just kind of like blurted out, like, she was laughing. Now I forget what she was laughing, but she was laughing. And I was like, oh, it's funny, my daughters got molested. And instantly she hangs up the phone and she shows up to my house immediately by herself at this given time. And when she walked in, because I experienced my self molestation as a child. I experienced molestation. My older brother used to even like go down on me. I remember my older sister, she used to like finger me. My older cousins used to finger me and stuff like that. So when you're younger and you don't know that my Heimlich was already gone, but I did not know that because I wasn't educated in that area. But wow. The Almighty Ancestors is so beautiful, man. And you don't supposed to fear nothing. For a long time, I would fear telling this story or telling my story because it's just, I felt like I was to blame for everything. Because how can I not know this? But it ain't my fault. And I'm learning that it's never been my fault, because when you are not educated as a black person or even a black mother or black families, black families are just so miseducated, and it's so much molestation and sick stuff going on in black families. That's because we don't educate ourselves. But back to the story, my story. So she comes to my home, and when she walked in, I immediately say, my daughters were molested. And I said, when I was younger, I was molested too. And so she had this big old face, like, I couldn't believe her face. Like, I couldn't believe she said that with her face, because this is what I'm just recognizing her facial expression. She didn't really say anything. She just looked shocked that I said that. So she's like, what are you talking about? How do you know? So I tried to show her, because my daughter, at the time, she was 5. She had a red abrasion or bruise on the right side of her labia. So she goes outside. I don't know what she did outside, but before she leaves, I tell her, you need to be more on the woman's side. She goes outside, and I told her not to let nobody come up in here. At the time, I was staying in an apartment off of Trumbull in Warren, and I told her not to let nobody up in here. Nobody can come in here but her. And so, telling her this, that nobody can come in here but her, she comes up to the door anyway, and it sounds like she got like one of my brothers with her or something. But I told her on the speaker, because it's an intercom box, I said, I told you not to bring anybody with you, but I go open the door anyway. Because all in that sense, y'all, I felt so many different emotions. I felt confused. I felt sad. I felt, wow. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? My children had named some names and said who touched them. They were wiping their eyes. It was like, wow, like, your children finally, because a lot of parents out there, they child will tell them something, they like, be quiet, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. I couldn't do that to my children at that time, because I know what it's like for you to be telling somebody something, especially the truth, and they try to shut you up. So I tell her, she come back in, I'm going to the door, and I notice 2 police officers there. And I'm like, what's going on? And they said that I threatened. They didn't say off rip. They had to call the police to get them to me. So somebody lied and said, and I'm gonna tell you what they said once I tell you how they put me in the police car. So I'm like, what's going on? And they called for you, and can we see the children? Can we make sure the children is all right? I said, yeah, they're fine. They're in there. I said, who called you? What's going on? And I was like, oh, since they want to call you, I said, my children were molested by my family members. This is why they're calling you. So they proceeded. The black officer, he shook his head. It was a black and a white officer. The black man was taller than the white man. But the black officer shook his head, and they came to see my children and everything to make sure they was all right. So my children came outside. They came and got me too. We all went outside. My parents took my children, or their father took them. I really don't know how the split went, but their father took them, I believe, and the police got me. And I'm like, why are y'all not doing anything? The police system is like so fucked up, y'all, because the reason why they didn't do anything about the comment, even which I said, they said it's whoever called first. And they were basically calling on me, and this was my place they even came to. So it's like, wow, like they called the police on me first. So it don't matter what I said. First call, first serve. So I know I just got to get this story out, because I hold this in, and somebody needs to hear this, because somebody out there needs to hear this. So they put me in the back of the police car, and I'm saying to the police officers, very calm. Very calm. I did not get irate. And I'm saying, like, officers, I'm saying I'm not irate. I'm not belligerent. I'm not raising my voice. I'm calm. And they say, we see that, ma'am. So I look at their computer up front, because they have a computer. And they said that I threatened whoever called the police on me that day. Whoever it was. I heard so many different names that called the police, but nobody ever tells the fucking truth. Whoever called the police on me that day, they reported that I was going to drown my children in the tub. I said, they're lying. I said, that's not true. What's on your screen? That's not true. They're lying. They took me down to receiving. The hospital next to the pregnant hospital. It's all connected. It's on the right hand side. It got red letters. So they took me in there. And my mother came. I didn't know why she was there, but until afterwards, my mother came and she had to sign something to put me in there. They tried to get my brother, who's running for city council now, to sign, but he didn't sign. So she came to sign the papers to get me down there, because they couldn't keep me if I wasn't petitioned. That's another fucked up thing. If you're not petitioned, they can't keep you. So she had to sign for me to stay down there. The system is so fucked up. So I'm in the back by this time. They're gone. I'm like, I asked one of the nurses or somebody who came to check me. They asked me my name. I'm giving them my name, Anastasia Jackson. I'm giving them all the information. And they asked me why I was there, why I'm there. I'm telling them the same story. My daughters were molested. My daughter was molested. Could you please just take them to the hospital? I even asked the police, could they take them to the hospital to see that I wasn't lying, that their Heimlichs were gone.
and my daughter had a bruise on her labia. So whatever was done, it was done that prior week too. Because this was a Monday and I didn't take them to school. So and you just gotta keep reminding yourself it's not your fault. It's not your fault. But I have to, because somebody needs to hear this. So, the man that came and checked me and asked me what my name was, and I told him Anastasia Jackson. And I also asked him, I said, how is it that I'm in here? Why? Like, how can people just sign you up? Don't you have to have a guardian or something to be signed up for this? And then he looked at me like a guardian. Do you have a guardian? I said, no, I don't have any guardian. I'm just asking a question like how. It's like they don't even leave you enough room to ask any questions. If you ask questions, you're like a suspect. You're a suspect in a way. It's like if you ask them questions, then you're supposed to be there. Especially if you're asking, don't you supposed to have a guardian or something to be in it? Like, how can they do this? How can they sign me up for this? I've been telling the same story. So after that, they take me in the back. They ask me again why I'm there. I told them. I said, can you just call Child Protective Services? Could you call somebody and tell them? My daughters were molested. That's why I'm in here. If I'm lying, if I was lying, okay, put me in here. If I'm lying, put me in here. But you didn't even check. So they get me in the back. I refuse to take any of their medicine. I was back there for about, in total, I was back there. I don't know how long I was back there, but in total, I was waiting for my children that time for 17 days. So I had to be back there at receivings for at least 3 to 4, maybe 5 days. So by this time, I thought I was going home because I was real cool back there. I wasn't belligerent. I wasn't doing any outbursts or anything like that. Only thing is what I told them. And so then they transferred me to Havenwick. And Havenwick is in like Ann Arbor or something like that. It's way far from Detroit. It's like way far. It's up 75. I remember that much. It's like going towards Oakland Mall. Because that's Oakland Mall. So I get to Havenwick and basically I guess they're evaluating me. I told the doctor's assistant, because he had an assistant in the room, to write down what he was saying. He said, okay, we're going to diagnose you with the Vega shot. we're going to diagnose you and give you the Vega shot. After you get the Vega shot, you can leave. I said, no, I refuse. I said, I'm not getting any shot. No, I don't. No, I'm not. So when you refuse to take anything that they give you, they take you to court. They take you to court. So I went to court a little after that, because they try to get you through like this. Remember, I said I was in there the process was 17 days. I stayed in receiving for at least 4 to 5 days. So with the process being 17 days, they try to hurry up and get me to court, which was like the next 2 days. They gave me a court appointing lawyer. I didn't want a court appointing lawyer. I was even calling my children's father like, hey, get me a real lawyer. He didn't do any of it. He didn't get me a real lawyer, so I had to get what I had. And that's the court appointing. I had turned her away and everything. She had an attitude that I turned her away. And she came back, and I could tell she still was a little salty that I denied her, but whatever. We go to court, which I didn't go to court before this virtual thing even started. I was virtually doing that in 2017. They had me on a screen, and my mother came in from wherever, and she came in to testify against me, saying that I've been acting weird. I've been saying that I've been talking to God and stuff like that. And I was confused because we've been going to church our whole fucking life. So what the fuck you mean I've been talking to God? She was stuttering. She was shaking. She was really jittery. And I keep trying to remind myself not to get upset, because I'm trying to blame it on slavery and the way we are. Just black people, period. But some people have to stand up and take accountability for what the fuck they have done. So once she testified against me, I was talking as clear as I'm talking right now. And I told the judge even what I said. I even told the judge. I told my lawyer, because they was trying to give me pills and stuff, and I even told the lawyer, like, I'm not taking the pills. I put them under my tongue and I throw them in the toilet. I told her, like, I don't know if that was crazy, but it was, because I think she even went back and told, I told her I wasn't taking the medicine. So while I was in there, I was still being myself. I was reading. I was dancing, just trying to lighten the situation of me and my mind, my soul, and my spirit, and everything that I have just been through. My children being away from me. I had just had my daughter. I didn't even get a chance to see her crawl. I've seen all my children crawl. My last daughter, I did not even get a chance to experience her when she was a little child. So apparently you can't be doing all that dancing and shit in a mental institution. They don't like that. But long story short, I get out of the courtroom. the virtual courtroom, I just knew. I was like, yeah, she's stuttering, and yeah, I definitely. Yeah, I was thinking in my head, if they made her ass take a lie detector test, she would fail that. She's stuttering, she's shaking. I'm like, she don't even sound as clear spoken as I like. And not only that, I still had proof about their Heimlichs, and she had a bruise, she had an abrasion on her labia, my 5-year-old. So later on that day, they like, okay, Anastasia, come on. It's time for you to take your shot. Because I haven't heard nothing. I didn't hear nothing from the lawyer. I was wondering, was the lawyer going to come back and consult with me, tell me what went on, tell me how everything was going to go. But after I left the virtual courtroom from inside of Havenwick Institution, I didn't hear nothing else. So I was like, oh, yeah, like, this is cool. I'm about to be out of here in no time. Like, yeah, wow. Like, they going to see, and we just going to do the damn thing and go on from here. But they said, okay, Anastasia, it's time. Come on, it's time for you to get your shot. I said, get what shot? And they like the Invega shot. Look it up, y'all. I even asked for paperwork. I asked them what the fuck was this shot before I even went to court, because I wanted to know what they was trying to get me. And I read all of the things, like all of the things. If you drink herbals, because I was already on herbs and stuff, and not weed. I mean, like the liquid herbs. I was already going through a cleansing of my body. I was already doing that because this girl that I used to work at Harold's place with, she introduced me to it. I have like a whole freaking like pamphlet. She introduced me to it. She introduced me to the herbs, the liquid herbs. She introduced me to the essential oils and stuff like that. So I was learning this already in 2015. I was working at Harold's place 2015. 15 I was working there. So I was already into it. So it was a lot of things on this list that's saying, if you're doing this, you shouldn't be taking Invega. If you're doing this, you shouldn't be taking Invega. They didn't get my medical records because I was going to the hospital. Before that, like I said, I had my daughter in the hospital. So I was going through the hospital. They could have got my medical records and everything and seen who I was before they tried to force that upon me. They didn't know if that was going to kill me. They didn't know none of that. They just gave me a shot. So I'm like, nah. They like, Anastasia, if you don't come on, we're going to have to hold you down. And I don't like nobody holding me down. Not for nothing. It's like claustrophobia or whatever the fuck. So I just sat down in the chair and they gave me a shot in my arm. And after that, after they gave me that shot in my arm, I was so upset. I went back in there and I could it just burned. I remember it burning really badly. And I went to sit down and I just started crying hysterically and I just started shaking. And as I'm sitting down, I'm like, I told y'all not to give me that fucking shot. Everybody who was in there for mental institution purposes, reasons, all of them left because they was afraid of my reaction. So the workers come in, at least 5 deep, and they like, Anastasia, If you don't calm down, we're going to have to give you another shot. This not in Vega. This is something else. So they just dope you up with different medication because I seen them do it to one girl that was in there. They kept shooting her with stuff. And so this dude, he was gay. And I thought he was cool before this. He said, Anastasia, the shot don't even work that fast. And I said, how the fuck you gonna tell me something that you putting inside of me immediately like that is not working fast? How the fuck you gonna tell me something you putting in my bloodstream not working fast? And he basically shut it up. They didn't want to come near me because of my outburst. I'm steady behind me. I'm just drinking water because I'm feeling like dehydrated. So they got this lady to come in there to calm me down. She had real long hair, brown, and she was short. And she sat down with me. And she held my hand. And my hands was so cold. And she said, you know what they say. You know what they say about a person with cold hands. And I said, no. And she said, they have warm hearts. And I started crying some more. And she walked me to my room. But I calmed down. She walked, because that was nothing but the Most High, because if I didn't calm down, they would have gave me another shot. Not to mention, I supposed to got 2 of the Invega shots. That was the first dose. I guess they wanted to see if I had a reaction before they had to give me the second dose. So the next day, they gave me the second dose, but she was there with me. But it was a worker in there, and I forget her name. She was like, she wasn't working that day, but she came. She came and was like, what's wrong with Anastasia? She's not her normal self. What's wrong with her? Like, she could tell my energy was tampered with. So once I got out of after that, the doctor let me go on the 17th of May after the shot and everything. After that, my health started going down. I wasn't coming on my period. I had racing thoughts. It was hard to laugh. I would stay up all through the night and day. I was getting no rest. Pardon me. So I had the place that I had, but I came to live with my parents. It's like everything that I said, it was like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're imagining. Even if I am, somebody needs to hear. Nobody ever cleared up anything. The Most High sent this lady into my life because, like I said, my health was going down after they gave me that shot. it was a lady that was selling in alarm systems with the videos. Like, this was the first time I ever even seen it. She had like videos, like you could see people walk on your porch and shit like that, and she was walking down the street, but my dad was in the car and my mother was in the inside. Because mom don't go for that. She don't like when people walk up to her. She coming, but my dad, come listen to this. Look what the lady got, alarm systems and blase splee, whatever. Long story short, I was already researching my health. Like, how can I get back to where I needed to be? So I was writing down herbs. I was writing down things. The lady looked. She was a redhead white lady with freckles. She lived in Florida, and she came from Florida to here because she was about to marry some guy that she met here. And she found a job doing the security systems for the homes, in which I'm telling y'all, alarm system. She read my ingredients, or she read the notes that I had to try to get myself better. And she said, "What do you need this for?" She asked my mother. And my mother was like, "Oh, that's not mine, that's my daughter's." So she said, "What do you need this for?" And I said, "Well, I went to the mental institution and they gave me a shot." I basically told her everything, and it's like, I said everything was going down. I don't come on my period. I got racing thoughts. I can't sleep at night. Just a bunch of things. And she said, oh, I know what you need. And she told me, she said, "Oh, you need progesterone cream. It's for women with menopausal. Those are like menopausal symptoms. You need progesterone cream. You need VTEX, the raspberry kind." When I tell y'all, I rushed out the house. I was still able to drive, but barely. I shouldn't have been driving, but I'm telling you, I'm not a foolish driver anyway, but the ancestors had me. I went and I felt myself getting better a little bit, but I still felt low. But after she told me that for the first time, y'all, because I went to the wellness, and I apologize if I'm jumping, but before I met that lady, I went to the wellness center, and I told the wellness in the Eastern Market for people of mental states, that they call mental anyway. I went there and told him all of my symptoms, and he gave me some medication that was telling me to kill them. I promise you that he gave me the medication that saying I didn't even go to sleep. When the sun came up, it was like, kill them. I was like, kill who? And then I didn't take the medication no more after I heard that shit. So that's when the lady showed up, and I went out, and they ain't even got one in the city. You got to go way out to fucking 14 mile in Woodward just to go get this health stuff, because they ain't got it in the city. They had everything I needed. That night, I took a bath, or I took a shower, and I put that progesterone cream on the areas she told me to put them on. And I promise you, that was the first night I got rest from my healing journey. That was the first night. And I've been healing ever since. And I'm not done with this. It's because this is a long story, my story. But natural
things got me to where I needed to be right now. And I just hope that this reached the right people that it needs to reach. I'm not done with any of this. I'm still battling. I don't even have my children with me. This is how the enemy works. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here, and I'm gonna have a part 2. Deuce, deuce. Kiss, kiss. Talk to you soon.